BLT,
BLT,
BLT, BLT Entertainment Celebrity News.
Celebrity News.
So you don't have to stalk them. First up, speculations run rampant on celebrity couple Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. Will they or won't they have a child, name it Mars and then retire to the red planet? On again off again celebrity couples counselor Elon Musk says he can get them a great deal on a cheap hemisphere he'd be willing to part with on the good side of the Martian equator. The United Nations is questioning his ability to actually sell anything on Mars, let alone that he owns or can buy anything there. He responded to the question by stating, "My family did not come from Mars. We have always been on your planet. We only wish to go back to Mars for family reasons."
In other celebrity couple news, Tom Holland and Zendaya are rumored to be thinking about going back to school to get their doctorates in biology, specifically radiological mutation. When questioned about their reasons for blatantly seeking superpowers off the screen, they were quoted as saying that they were getting their doctorates for family reasons. Today marks the 20th anniversary of Tom Cruise's 50th birthday. He commemorated the day by jumping off the Burj Khalifa in Dubai for his newest installment in the Mission Impossible franchise. When BLT contacted his publicist to ask about the movie, they were quoted as saying, wait. The last Mission Impossible movie wrapped months ago. Wait. Someone tracked Tom's phone.
Breaking news. Bella Hadid has done nothing. Absolutely nothing this week. We have 20 exclusive pics and video with a split screen showing her looking and acting exactly the same as she did last week. This week last week same hair. This week last week same types of clothes. This week last week same underwear. This week last week same apartment. We have confirmed that nothing has changed. Her publicist assured the public that she doesn't know how this happened and will get to the bottom of the nothing. Rest assured.
Counterpoint. Today the head of every major TV, streaming and movie studio just got together to hold what they termed as a very important press conference. Each CEO in turn took their turn to talk about the state of the media industry and their place in its history. The consensus seemed to be that they were not going to make any more media, full stop. They each explained that they bought their way into the industry from another industry because it seemed cool. But after a number of years as studio heads, they realized that they didn't understand media or really anything artistic in general. Now that they've run each studio into the ground with uninformed and unintelligent decision-making, they have decided that they would make more money by laying everyone off and just recycling their catalogs for the rest of time. Quote, "We are done with you artsy-fartsy bastards. Woot woot." Unquote.
Day 14 in the trial of Weird Al Yankovic has gotten underway. Today Mr. Yankovic's former driver will provide key testimony on the day-to-day activities of the parody song star who has been accused of leading a double life as the notorious head of the Assassins Union. The singer has so far relied on the "just look at me" defense, which has seemed to counter most of the accusations. Of course, there has been a lot of online chatter about the fact that pretty much any and all witnesses that could possibly testify are dead. A fact that Mr. Yankovic's attorneys suggest is what could possibly happen if one were to cross paths with the Assassins Union. Kind of the whole point of an Assassins Union. Something their client has no knowledge or involvement with in any capacity.
Today is the 60th anniversary of the day David Bowie entered our atmosphere and took out an unnamed village outside of London. NATO forces converged on the crater but instantly took a real liking to this Ziggy Stardust. In only a matter of years he had gained control over the planet's limited stockpile of coal and would only dole it out to the public as he saw fit. And we were happy to let him. Changing his name to the Thin White Duke, he launched fully into supervillainy, outclassing every bad guy on the planet. He pretty much stole the 80s, but was finally stopped by the robotic superhero Tin Machine, who tricked him into releasing the coal he had stockpiled back into the world. Drained, Bowie retired from villainy and took to a back seat and let others have their time with cool. He naturally generated cool particles himself, so he spent the next few decades building up enough of his own cool to launch him back into space to take on his next adventure. We'll miss you, Starman.
Back to the present, which is much better than the old yucky past. Former pop sensation Chrissy Chris has taken a break from her duties as the Dean of Danvers University to start a new non-profit organization called Reject Rescue. They will be an outreach program for victims of supervillain experimentation and exploitation. This program will also set up rehabilitation centers for genetically modified abominations of nature where they can be safely held and get the help that they need. Strictly a no-kill shelter, they will handle people and things that might otherwise have to be dropped into the heart of the sun as a precaution. Scan the QR code for more information or if you want to get involved.
In not related news, TikTok's most viewed new country artist Bob Bobby has been heating up the internet with over 1 billion views. His manager Dean Diener says his client is being courted by many of the biggest country labels, but has not yet signed. He says he's not happy with how his hairline is shaped and would have to workshop the next version. Not surprising to have a pop star reinventing themselves, but reinventing themselves right at the beginning of their careers is a big risk. Mr. Diener assures us that Bob Bobby will be back in time for his first big tour and will be better than ever and maybe 200 feet tall. Well, we guess 1 billion views tell us that the public is willing to wait.
Breaking news, Rich Housewives of Hollywood was finally cancelled after 47 seasons. Inside sources say that the ratings were great, but studio HR had to step in over reports of draining going on behind the scenes on set. RHOH's cast is of course made up of 4 energy vampires and 3 traditional vampires, all very active in the vampire normalization movement. Unfortunately, rumors of vampiric misconduct and open attacks of crew members on set was not new to this show and has dogged the franchise over the last 10 years. This of course does nothing to help the movement or the various pro-vampire charities the cast members are involved with. We have reached out to the production company for comment, but have had no response.
In the wake of Netflix docu-series 8 Days of the Lizard, a new trial for convicted and sentenced supervillain Professor Beelzebub is underway. The docu-series itself revisits the 8 terrifying days in 1974 New York where a giant lizard rampaged through the city. The monster was defeated by a team of superheroes led by the front woman for Blondie, Debbie Harry. The evidence at that time led back to one Kevin Foreman who had legally changed his name to Professor Beelzebub. Though at the time he denied any involvement, his case was speedily prosecuted and he was found guilty of creating the monster for the sole purpose of destruction. He was sentenced to 80 years behind bars. 5 years ago, Foreman reached out to the filmmakers of the docu-series who have since uncovered quite a bit of suppressed evidence, including footage of a particularly damning confession by a well-known supervillain and celebrity of the time. More updates to follow on the trial, and the show is already greenlit for season 2. Breaking news. The studio heads have just called another emergency press conference to explain their press conference earlier today. It seems they had all fallen under the control of an out-of-work actor calling himself Trainwreck. His superpower seems to be instant hypnosis, as his victims cannot look away from him and is able to make them say or do anything he wants. Luckily, Captain Champion was able to subdue the villain and free the high-paid victims. When asked if Trainwreck compelled the studio bosses to make the previous statements, one of the CEOs began by saying, "He only compelled us to tell the truth." He was quickly bodily tackled by the rest of the studio heads. He is currently hospitalized and we hope to have updates on his condition later this evening. And now here to comment on the situation is head tastemaker and part-time editor of BLT Entertainment, Kane Karver.
Kane Karver.
Kane Karver.
Kane Karver here to do my little weekly word on hot breaking stories that you want to hear. Here's my hot take on what just happened over at the studio. Studio lots, you know them, and you know you can't get on them without a drive-on called in and QR code emailed to your phone. At least that's how it's supposed to work for everyone else besides me, Kane Karver, celebrity to the celebrities. If you look at me and you don't know that I'm allowed onto any studio lot or anywhere vaguely important, then buddy, You don't know what the hell you're doing. I don't need a drive-on. When I show up at your studio lot, your little dream farm is gonna get a whole lot better from me being there. So, no, I don't have a stupid little QR code. I have an ME code, valid at more places than Visa, okay? So the next time I show up at your gate, Mr. Terry McSullivan of 555 Bleckner Street, Apartment 120, you better not be checking with security. You just open that gate, mister. That way I don't have to dox you. Not every time. Oh, happy birthday, by the way, Terry. Stop drinking at work, though. All right? All right. This was me, Kane Karver, signing off. Take her easy, compadres. I know you will.
BLT Entertainment Celebrity News. Celebrity News.
So you don't have to stalk them.